what you wish for, Parker.
Hello, Peter.
Welcome back, everyone. It's pizza time. This will be my full Spider-Man No Way Home trailer breakdown. There's so much stuff packed into this, so many Easter eggs, so we'll just go through shot by shot. And I'll try to do this in a linear fashion, too, just because they jump around in the timeline of the movie during the trailer. But if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. There's going to be so much Spider-Man stuff happening in the next couple of months. It's going to be a really good time to be a Spider-Man fan. But the way they're playing this opening scene of the trailer with him and MJ on the roof, it seems like it's the roof of their high school. It's happening really soon, right after the events of Spider-Man Far From Home, when Mysterio revealed his identity to the world and J. Jonah Jameson aired that video on national television. Notice that she's reading the New York Post because the Daily Bugle is a website in this universe. Now, obviously, we've seen the Daily Bugle newspaper in the Venom Let There Be Carnage trailer. They're using the logo from the Tobey Maguire movies for the Daily Bugle. But here, this is what J. Jonah Jameson looks like. It'll be interesting to see what he looks like when he shows up in the Venom movie and then in the Morbius movie. There's a couple Easter eggs in the graffiti here. If you look in the background, it says Steve Ditko in graffiti, while she's also joking about all of Spider-Man's powers. I think that's also a bit of foreshadowing for multiverse, different versions of Spider-Man having slightly different powers, different versions from the comics as well. He uses mechanical web shooters in the MCU, also Andrew Garfield used mechanical web shooters, but Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man had organic web shooters. That was one of the big differences with his character. Then you see them swing through the city and it seems like they're having a chase with the police that are trying to haul him in. J. Jonah Jameson seems like he's broadcasting 24/7 about Spider-Man, like it's non-stop ever since he got that Mysterio tape. Then a lot of you have asked if Matt Murdock does show up during this interrogation scene, because this would be the place for him to show up. It's totally possible, but I don't think that anybody in the room here that we see, like the person slams the files down on the desk and you don't see his head, that's not Matt Murdock. So if Matt Murdock, Daredevil, does show up during this scene, it's not in any of this trailer footage here. The whole idea with the drones, people believing him, not believing him that he didn't kill Mysterio, is that Tom Holland said that when that video leaked out, not everyone in the world winds up believing it. Some people think it's fake, some people think that it's real. But regardless, it just causes so many problems, throwing his personal life into disarray in the lives of his family, his friends, MJ, Ned Leeds, Aunt May, even Happy. The reason MJ seems optimistic about this is probably because she wants to be in a relationship with Peter and doesn't want it to sneak around anymore. But because Peter fought Thanos on an alien planet, lost, was killed, and then brought back to life, like the events of Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame, he's just worried about his family, like he knows how bad it can get. When you see them leaving school amidst the crowd, like everybody is just like, oh my god, it's Spider-Man, and some people hate him, some people love him, they just all want a piece of him. He and Ned Leeds walk past this sign here, Devil in Disguise. No, I don't think that that is a clue that Mephisto is in the movie, but I do think that it is a clever wink at Mephisto from the One More Day storyline, because that's basically the story of this movie. In the comics, it was Peter going to Doctor Strange to try and find a way to bring Aunt May back to life because she had died during the events of Civil War in the comics. When Mephisto did that, he combined a couple different timelines, basically erasing knowledge of Peter's identity from everyone's memories because that also happened during their comic book Civil War. Erasing his marriage to MJ and effectively kind of retconning the character because they'd taken him so far and they wanted to soft reboot him and undo a lot of the changes they made to his character the last couple of years. It was a very controversial comic book storyline. A lot of people just absolutely hated it. The Spider-Man No Way Home adaptation of that is him going to Doctor Strange to try and find a way to make people forget that he's Spider-Man. Can you just make it so that Mysterio never doxed me? So even though Mephisto was a huge part of that in the comics, I'm not expecting him to be a big character during Spider-Man No Way Home. Just the way they're pitching this, they want to pin it all on Spider-Man making the bad judgment call, trying to undo the past, and Doctor Strange having a big enough ego to think that he could pull it off. There were a lot of you that watched the trailer and said, hey, Doctor Strange doesn't seem like he's acting like Doctor Strange would normally act. Why is he winking like Agatha Harkness? Like, trust me, bro, but multiverse edition. I don't think it's secretly Mephisto pretending to be Doctor Strange or anything like that. The writer of the Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness movie was also the showrunner on the Loki series. His name is Michael Waldron. He posted this image of Doctor Strange winking. I explained this in my last video too. He said that during Doctor Strange 2, which happens right after the events of Spider-Man No Way Home, that Doctor Strange is supposed to be the most powerful that he's ever been inside the MCU, like full-blown, top-tier Sorcerer Supreme. So the idea is that he probably thinks that if he was able to defeat Thanos successfully with the Avengers, that they could do just about anything. He could accomplish just about anything. The whole idea is that he's actually very similar to Tony Stark's personality in the MCU. Both of them had their huge bro-off during Infinity War. towering egos thinking that they could do just about anything that they put their minds to. And how many problems did that cause for Tony Stark? And for Doctor Strange, at least in the context of this trailer, they're trying to tell us that maybe he could have pulled it off, but he didn't expect Spider-Man to just completely muck everything up. Like, he didn't count on the variable that was Peter Parker. That's why he's yelling, "Stop messing with the spell." So obviously it's a very complicated spell, and Spider-Man just does something during it to try and mess things up. Local man ruins everything. There's a lot of scenes of him inside the high school. I am expecting them to do another funny broadcast about this too. So he goes to Doctor Strange. They don't completely explain why the Sanctum is covered in snow, but it probably has something to do with magic going awry inside the Sanctum, because you see one of the other initiates in the background shoveling snow and putting it into a bin. I love the way that Doctor Strange is wearing a cold weather inspired version of his costume. Like, he's wearing the Cloak of Levitation on top of a giant puffy coat, on top of a bunch of sweats. But from a distance, it still kind of looks like his normal color scheme. They've tuned his hair just a little bit differently, like his haircut is just a little bit closer to comic book Doctor Strange. The streaks of gray through his hair are just a little bit more prominent. There are also a lot of you that are asking how Doctor Strange got his amulet back after Thanos destroyed the last one during Avengers Infinity War. He was not wearing the Eye of Agamotto during the final fight in Avengers Endgame, so my assumption is that at some point he just went back to Titan and got the remains of that and then put it back together. So he still has the amulet, but he doesn't have the time stone, as far as we know. They have the joke about, "What do you call me?" "Oh, we're going by our made-up names," like during Infinity War, and he says, "Oh, okay, I'll call you Steven." Just a little joke on how awkward Peter is in these personal interactions. "Steven, that's a little weird, but I'll allow it." Then they jump to this scene of Peter in the black suit, the new black and gold suit, looking like he's either coming out of stealth mode or he's in the middle of a fight and he just landed in the middle of this, but it seems like it's inside one of the feast shelters. So we've seen the feast trucks all over the set behind the scenes. They're right out of the comics. Martin Lee created them in the comics. You also saw them all over the Spider-Man PS4 game and the Spider-Man Miles Morales game. I don't know if he's a character during the movie, but they are at least doing the feast shelters. I've already talked about the black and gold costume. The web shooters he's using with those with the red tipped gloves seem like they have very Doctor Strange magic inspired web shooters. And it does seem like he wields magic when he's wearing this suit, like Doctor Strange somehow integrates his magic with the suit, giving him some enhanced abilities. You also see him wearing this black suit when he's fighting Electro, so it could have some electrical properties like the anti-shock costume. But a lot of people also been making the anti-Ock references because in the comics, there's the more metallic, more Iron Spider-y version looking of it with the color scheme of black and gold when he fights Dr. Octopus during the Spider-Man PS4 game. And in this trailer, he definitely fights Dr. Octopus. There are a lot of you that have also asked too, because in this scene here where he's wearing the black costume, fighting Electro, there's also this giant dust cloud, so people are like, is this Sandman? Is Sandman supposed to be in this movie too from the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films? That is always possible. I'll address this too when I talk about the people that are asking about the Lizard also possibly being in the movie. It's just there's so many multiverse characters showing up in this that it opens the floodgates for theory crafting. Then, as I said, they get to the one more day of it all where Doctor Strange tries to erase memory of his identity from everyone's minds on planet Earth. He takes them into the basement of the Sanctum in what looks like this really ancient place that we've never seen before. I think this will also happen during Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, just showing us new areas of the Sanctum that we've never been to before. Then there's the funny scene with Wong where he tells Doctor Strange, "Don't you dare try that spell," and he just winks at Spider-Man, Agatha Harkness style, like, "Trust me, bro, I got this." A lot of you have also asked if this is Wong heading to the events of the Shang-Chi movie. So I believe the idea, though, is that Shang-Chi is supposed to take place before Spider-Man No Way Home. Because if you remember, Spider-Man Far From Home, the last Spider-Man movie, took place 8 months after Avengers Endgame, like a long time after Endgame. At least part of Spider-Man No Way Home seems like it takes place during the winter holidays. There may be a small time jump during the movie between what's happening here and then what happens later in the film. But no spoilers for Shang-Chi. There's really nothing in that movie that absolutely confirms whether it takes place before or after Spider-Man No Way Home. The only thing I would say is that it takes place before the events of Doctor Strange 2: Multiverse of Madness. But my assumption right now, just based on the way Marvel plots their movies out, is this is happening after the events of the Shang-Chi movie. And just given the tone of the trailer here, just the way they're playing this funny moment with all the snow all over the Sanctum, I'm assuming that he's just temporarily moving while they clean up the Sanctum. Classic Spider-Man doesn't think about the consequences of his actions because he's still a high school kid. That's the whole idea here, asking a very simple question with a very complicated answer, like, oh yeah, we can totally erase memory of you from the entire world. But it will literally do that. Everyone, all your friends, all the Avengers, everybody's going to forget about you. And like I said, it's a very Loki-style explainer, combining aspects of different universes, different timelines, where things went down differently to achieve their desired result. It's the exact same thing that Mephisto did during the One More Day storyline to bring Aunt May back to life, combining a couple alternate timelines. But like I said again, I do not think that Mephisto is responsible for anything that's going on during Spider-Man No Way Home. And at least the way they're playing this in the trailer, they want us to think that Spider-Man tampering with the spell is what causes everything to break down and all of reality to sort of collapse and mix together in a way that they didn't intend. Notice the visual effects that they use seem very similar to the visual effects that were used when Doctor Strange went on his galactic tour of the multiverse that the Ancient One sent him on during the first Doctor Strange movie. It's kind of similar to them visualizing the sacred timeline, different timelines during the Loki series. Then a lot of you have asked what's going on with this box that he's reaching into when Doctor Strange pulls that move on him, separating him into his astral form. It's the same thing that the Ancient One did to him, the same thing that the Ancient One did to the Hulk during Avengers Endgame. A really quick way for Doctor Strange to call time out, stop what you're doing right now. There are a lot of rumors about what's going on with this box, though, and it'd have something to do with the Sinister Six villains. But the way they cut the audio, the voiceover, where he's like, be careful what you wish for, you can't keep living two lives. I think something about the box contained aspects of the original reality, like he's somehow trying to get back what he lost, and thinks that it's inside the box, and that unleashing what's inside the box will fix everything, but classic Spider-Man style, that will only make things worse. So at least for a small portion of the film, you have Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange, with Spider-Man trying to undo what they did, but doing a really terrible job of it, and Doctor Strange trying to keep him from making things worse. Then when he talks about the stability of space and time sort of crumbling, they just completely messing everything up with the multiverse and blending different realities, when you see the landscape of New York City shifting and it looks similar to what we saw during the Doctor Strange movie, when it was happening during that film, they were actually manipulating dark energy to do that. So this does seem very Dormammu inspired. But I think it's just meant to highlight the idea that reality around them is crumbling, and we're heading towards a scenario, towards the collapse of all reality, but things won't really get that bad until Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness. And it gets back to that Loki explainer where they talk about the collapse of all reality, but that's because of the all-out multiverse war that the Kang variants were happening. It's just that in Spider-Man No Way Home and in Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness, you have similar things happening, but just in slightly different ways. So it's as if Doctor Strange, Spider-Man, Scarlet Witch, and then Sylvie on the Loki series are all having a competition with each other to see who can mess up all of creation the worst. Challenge accepted. He says the multiverse is a concept about which we know frighteningly little. Then they use that as the introduction for some of the Sinister Six villains from the other Spider-Man franchises. You see Electro's blast of lightning from Jamie Foxx's Electro. It's yellow energy, even though I think it's going to be the same version of Electro. I think that they just tuned the character a little bit, like there are a couple minor costume changes for some of the characters. But Dr. Octopus, for instance, has the exact same arms from the Tobey Maguire films. While this boss fight is happening, you notice there's a Daily Bugle news truck. It's the Daily Bugle logo from the main Spider-Man MCU universe. Then seemingly during one of these scenes where reality is sort of crumbling around them, Doctor Strange is trying to salvage everything. You see Spider-Man and him on the train, which I think because we have Dr. Octopus in this movie is meant to be a clever wink at the train fight from Spider-Man 2. When Doctor Strange is telling him the problem is you trying to live two different lives, Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and trying to keep those two lives completely separate, I think what they're foreshadowing here is that eventually Peter Parker will get to the point where he can reveal his identity on his own terms. Like he'll have a version of that Iron Man 1 scene where he reveals his secret identity, but he'll be doing it himself because he wants to, not because somebody else doxed him. This whole mess with what looks like a SWAT team coming to take Happy in just seems like it's from earlier in the film when they're going around rounding up all of Peter's friends and family to interrogate them. This scene of the Black Hand reaching out, growling, trying to break past the barrier and swipe Peter, a lot of people have wondered if this might actually be Lizard because there's so many Sinister Six villains in the movie. It could be a version of Lizard, it could have something to do with what's inside that box that he's trying to open. But we just need some more footage to confirm, so right now, just open to theory crafting about what this actually represents. Like I said in my last video though, I do not think that it's Venom. Then we get the whole bridge fight scene with Dr. Octopus, and he's wearing the Iron Spider costume. During the bridge fight scene, they intercut it with the Goblin Bomb and the laugh from Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin from the Tobey Maguire films before Dr. Octopus from the Tobey Maguire films attacks him, saying, "Hello, Peter," while he's in the Iron Spider suit. So it sounds like the bridge fight scene is him fighting a couple different Sinister Six villains, and it's after they've teamed up in the film. Maybe when we get to the next big trailer, we'll see full-blown Electro and full-blown Green Goblin. Like I said, the whole idea with them coming back to life or coming into this universe is because them blending alternate timelines and that effectively bringing them back to life. There were a lot of you that said that this scene of him saying hello, Peter, and him suiting up in the Iron Spider suit seemed kind of sus. Like, is this meant to be misleading? Are there other versions of Spider-Man in this scene and we just don't see it because they digitally removed it, the way they altered all the Infinity War and the Avengers Endgame trailers to make us believe that different things were happening? I do think that they will try to intentionally mislead us with a couple of these trailer scenes. But talk about references and Easter eggs. This suit that Peter is wearing, the blue suit with the jacket and the tie, looks exactly like the suit that Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man wore during his movies. But for the most part, I'm still expecting most of the movie to be Tom Holland's Spider-Man versus this multiverse version of the Sinister Six with a little bit of help from Doctor Strange and then some big tag scenes from the other versions of Spider-Man like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. I'm also expecting some sort of tag scene for Doctor Strange 2 Multiverse of Madness, sort of setting up what's happening with Scarlet Witch. I don't think that she's going to be anywhere during this movie. They might reference what happened with the Hex just a little bit. Doctor Strange might reference the Darkhold or something like that, but a lot of that Scarlet Witch stuff they won't really deal with until the actual Doctor Strange 2 movie. And like I said, also, I don't think that Kang is going to be a big character during this as well. I think that they just completely muck up reality, the multiverse, because of this spell, and that sort of provides the back door for the villain of Doctor Strange 2 to surface before the events of that film. But while the events of this are happening, in the background of the multiverse, like you have to picture the giant infinite Marvel multiverse, the Kang Multiverse War is busy playing out. I already talked about the WandaVision Easter egg for August 23rd. A lot of people asking about this date because on WandaVision they had it circled with a heart around it. Did it predict the trailer coming out? The truth is that it's more of a coincidence, a really cool coincidence, because originally this movie, Spider-Man No Way Home, was going to come out during the summer, so we would have seen this trailer months and months ago. But this week is the anniversary of Spider-Man being taken out of the MCU 2 years ago, when Sony and Marvel had their big spat. So I think that's the bigger August 23rd connection that you could make. But post all your theories in the comments below. If there are any Easter eggs that you spotted that I didn't talk about during the video, or anything that I didn't address in my last couple of videos, just write it below in the comments. I will do a couple more videos about the Sinister Six characters and what's going on with them. In my full Marvel What If Episode 3 video will post next on Wednesday morning, so make sure you have alerts enabled so you don't miss any of that. While you wait for everything, click here for my other Spider-Man No Way Home trailer video, and click here for my brand new Eternals trailer video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone stay safe, and I'll see you guys tonight.